Hello.
So, my dears, we'll start from the jump. A friend of yours had shared threads of an unpublished, an unfinished novel with you.
Yes.
Then what?
In those chapters, there was John, Georgette, and Maggie, and the basic architecture of those three, of that relationship, that love triangle, and the basic switch, the hook of the film. And so I just thought it was kind of a perfect armature to hang a screwball comedy on.
So then, Greta, when you get the call from Rebecca Miller, do you throw up first and then you think?
No, I really loved Rebecca's films, and I was a great admirer of her. Also, as like a lady who's interested in making films, that was also what she does is so great, and she has such a unique voice, and she's a true auteur. And I think for me, the way I choose the films I want to do is really, really director based, and it felt like the very act of the movie coming together and me being in it felt like a bit of an act of destiny.
In and of
Yeah,
itself.
I mean, I have to just say that when I met Greta, I had really started to get worried that we wouldn't find the person that could really make sense of this character, that could seem manipulative in the wrong hands and wouldn't have the qualities. And I met Greta, and it was just like it really was a thunderclap of yes.
What is that? Yeah, but it also raises those questions, which I love, the sort of like notion of likability, that you don't necessarily. Well, we can still like you. There's still room. There's still room for us, but there can be. You're perfectly flawed.
I think for the most part, I play characters who I find a lot to be sympathetic with, and I think that's part of your job as an actor. Is you have to kind of find the corner of yourself that really understands. But with Maggie, I didn't have to look very far. I found her filled with integrity despite the chaos that kind of surrounds this moment in her life.
So go ahead. So Travis, tell me a story.
Well, I think every girl can learn something from a pickle entrepreneur. No, but it's an amazing script, and every character's got so many unique. Every character is so unique, and they're so attractive to actors, and it's a great cast, and I was very lucky to be a part of it.
Like, I felt like you made it so unique and special, but totally, like, I know that guy who's like, I just make pickles and wear shorts in winter.
Like,
and, like, because it's comfortable.
It was great being at the pickle factory. We shot at an actual pickle factory.
Yeah.
And they were great people, weren't they? Characters.
They were really nice. And the people, it turns out, have to have very big beards to make
Yeah,
pickles.
they all outbearded me.
It's required.
Yeah.
It's required. So we'll go to the first clip, which is actually going to be between you and Ethan, where he joins you on a constitutional. Now, you've both described working together and sort of pulling Maggie from the page and from your minds and making her flesh as a truly deep collaboration. Do you want to elaborate on that, the working process?
Like, all my favorite collaborations, I felt like Rebecca and I really got to a point where we were, we'd melded brains, and that's incredibly gratifying. And but then when it's over, you feel kind of adrift, and like you don't really know who you are anymore. But that's always it's a good sign, I think, ultimately for the life of the movie. But when it's over, you just feel kind of bereft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we had a wonderful, luxurious period of time together where we were able to just free associate and talk about strange things, books. Like, we went shopping for a dress for Maggie once. We would.
This was a real girls' club. I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, we did things too, but not quite so much. No, and we talked about many things and deep things, like the fact that she was a Quaker was something that we actually came up with together. But all of the actors were sort of advocates for their characters. I mean, the same, Travis, the same thing happened. There was like a lot of conversation about his attitude toward Maggie, how he felt about Maggie from from the beginning, from way back, and his he filled it up. I mean, that's what's amazing about working with actors, is that they fill up that thing that you made and make it so much more than you ever thought it could be.
Right. And then, I mean, in the overall, and I'd mentioned to you earlier, that I feel like the film sort of hits into, I guess it's a shift in the zeitgeist, particularly, obviously, for women, that the rule book has been thrown out. There's no direct line to having a baby, or that destiny doesn't necessarily have to be pinned to some dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a freedom in that.
There is a freedom, and I think a lot of women are feeling this tremendous sense of freedom, along with a kind of alarming sense of freedom. I mean, I think it's both, because when you suddenly are able to choose so many different ways of living, it just takes your breath away, and there's all sorts. Then also there's the fact that you end up with lots of responsibilities, and all of a sudden other human beings are involved in all of that. But it's a really exciting moment. I mean, I think the film is just sort of saying, look at what's changed. Look where we are now. Look at our confusion.
Right. But I think it'll stand. That people will look. It captures this exact moment. I think for so many of us. For so many of us,
well,
it
I would
speaks
be very
to it.
happy if it does.
I'll call somebody. So I guess now we'll jump to, we have another clip, and this is between Guy and Greta and his sperm.
Great.
Rebecca, how do you think it's absolutely necessary for women to create their own content?
I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I think that there's plenty of examples of women who've shot other people's scripts. I think that you're at a sort of an advantage, I suppose, because if you control the content and people want that content, then you necessarily are going to be hired, because you come with it.
Right.
So I suppose in that sense that I do think that the women have had an advantage in that way. But I can think of a lot of women who've directed other people's scripts, certainly.
Right. It's not.
Yeah.
Aside from the work, do you really find that it's built on relationships and honesty and just being at the right place at the right time? They say, it's not really luck. It's being prepared when the opportunity presents itself.
I think for me, my luck has been that actors wanted to work with me. I mean, that Personal Velocity, in a way, was a turning point, because once I made that, then other people, actors saw that, they wanted to work with me. And then once I started to get that reputation of being able to work with actors, that's why. And then the money followed the actors.
Right.
So that was my sort of thing.
Would you agree that perhaps Rebecca's working as an actor, or insight into acting, helps in how she communicates with you guys?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think so many things go into making a good director. It's hard to pick out any one thing. I mean, I think she's got this combination as a director, which is she gives her actors a lot of freedom, but she's always very clear about what she wants. And I think that that's really, for me, that's ideal, because I'm not scared of trying things, but I don't feel like I'm screaming into a void, which sometimes if people don't give you any guidelines, then you just feel like, well, I don't really know. I don't know what you want. I could do it a bunch of different ways, but what are you looking for? And so, I mean, I'm sure acting contributes to, her experience acting contributes to her skill as a director, but I really think that the catnip is the writing. But maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know.
Catnip?
Yeah. Exactly. No, but the script is, you read so many scripts as an actor, and but you do, and then there's some that you're on the fence. It's like, is this good? Is this bad? What's it like? And then you read a script like Rebecca's, and you make your judgment of those others you just read. This is really good script, Rebecca's, But there's so many times where you question, is like, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this script? And you're on the fence. Yeah. But yeah, it takes one really good script to go, oh my God, I can't believe I was considering that other one, you know?
I know. Or like, you can't believe you did it.
Very true, very true.
Like, oh no.
But then,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
every script you
But
sort of judge on that the standard of scripts like Rebecca's.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll stop asking questions and open it up to you guys.
How you doing, guys? Being a native New Yorker, I love the fact that this film was shot in New York. And my question to you guys was, how was it filming in New York City?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a challenge. Logistically, it was a challenge. So it was a challenge to get for transportation and getting the trucks and everything like that. But it was also like there's no substitute. You can't substitute New York. Whenever you see a movie that's supposed to be New York and it's not New York, it's just not New York.
When you're getting ready for a movie, how do you instruct your characters instruct your actors to step into the character's role? Is there a certain process that you sort of go through to get them ready to play the character, or is that?
Well, in this case, we got to work for a long time, at least with Greta and also Julianne. And Ethan and Travis, in a sense, we all got to talk for a long time before. So it isn't really like a last minute stepping in, like you're getting into a bath. It's like a long period where we're just talking. And really the truth is, as a director, you're completely dependent on an actor coming, creating a character. You can only go so far. You can meet in the middle. You can tailor a part to somebody, but as much as possible. And you can talk and talk and talk. But finally, you're dependent on the talent and imagination of an actor. And creating a part is an act of imagination. It's a creative act. And so that's why actors are both wonderful and terrifying, because you're so dependent on them. And yet, that's also why I love to work with them and why I have so much respect for what they do.
On that note then, so Maggie's Plan opens in LA and New York on Friday the 20th. And that's it. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.